Hi guys and welcome to my channel. This is Grace and I'm sharing with you my July 10 Handmade Cards 1 Homemade Kit series. This is going to be my, not series, but video. This is going to be broken into 3 videos, so I just want to let you know because I wanted to really have enough time to explain each card, and so for me to be able to do that, I decided to break it down so that it won't be too fast or too long. Okay, so the first video or the first card that I'm making is I'm going to be playing around with the flowers with the layered flower stamp, and so I decided that I want to stamp uh, just one of the image so that I can overlap some of the images, and so I'm going to do some masking technique with that. And I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers stamp thing. I forgot what it's called, but it's kind of it's very similar to um, the popular stamp Misty. There you go. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting what it's called. But yeah, that's what I have is the We Are Memory Keepers one. And I'm just stamping it. I don't need it to be stamped perfectly because this is just going to be my masking for it. And I stamped it on Post-it so that it has a little bit of sticky on one side. Although if I were to do it again, I'd probably get like a masking paper for this just because it's such a big design. And I think I ended up using some removable adhesive for it and also. So I'm just going to clean my stamp up. If you are ever interested in what I had put in this handmade kit, make sure that you check out the video just before this. I share the overview of the kit and the items that I had planned on using. So here is my, I think this one is a 4 by 5 inch paper. It's about a half an inch smaller than A2 size card, that's for sure. And I believe yes, because I did all my die cuts for this kit, so I couldn't remember which ones that I had die cut. But this one is actually a die cut piece with a stitched edge that is from Memory Box. So I wanted to use the distress ink, and I had picked 4 colors, and I wanted to use the middle color for the base. I didn't want it to be too dark, and but I also didn't want it to be too light. So I'm adding in the second layer, or no, I'm adding in the mask so that I can overlap the other flower. And I'm just using, as you can see, the thing about this We Are Memory Keepers stamp tool is that um, it doesn't have the magnets, and so I have to use some washi, and then because the stamp is new, it kind of clings onto the paper, so I just use my scissor to kind of separate the two so that when I open up the door that the stamp or the paper won't stick to the clear door of the tool. And so now I'm going to be working with the um, layering up with the leaves. And so I'm using the Studio G light green, and I am going to be stamping it twice on 2 different areas. Now I gotta say that I haven't really mastered the perfect coloring for the layered stamps. I have watched a lot of videos, and so I think I have some idea where you start the full design has to be a light color, and then the detailed design should be a dark color so that you can see the difference. And it worked out really well with the leaves, but not so much with the flowers. I think it's because the colors that I used were very close together. I probably should have used a lighter pink for the solid colored flower stamp, but I'm just showing that to you and I'm letting you know so that you can learn from my mistakes. And then I'm using some distressed ink. I think that's just fossilized amber, and that's going to be the for the detail of the leaves. I'm just moving around my mask so that I can do all of the details now. Because I've done all of the solid color, now I'm going to go with the detail. And again, this is my first card with this kit, so I was just really kind of getting acquainted with the stamp, just trying to see what it looks like when it's all layered, and kind of getting to know the colors of my ink as well, which one would work better. So this was not the best stamping or the best layering, but again, this is my first one, and I guess I'm giving myself some leeway that my first one would not be my favorite card of the batch, but it's all good. So now I'm going in with the last layer of this flower, and it has all of the lines and the details, and I have used the very darkest pink in my combo there. And then I wanted to add a little bit of shimmer, and so I have this glitter glue, and I am going to be using that, but because I haven't played with it or used it in a long time, apparently it had a bunch of gunk on the tip of it, and it was nothing was coming out, and so I figured that I will um, kind of leave it there, work with it later. I did manage to add some glitter to the flowers and then set it aside to dry. Okay, so now I'm going to be working with the sentiment. I had die cut the label with some black cardstock and using the Inspired by Stamping label set. And then I have stamped peace, love, and that's the part of that sentiment. And then the joy was die cut with that joy die cut from the Hero Arts stamp and die cut set, and I die cut that 3 times. One with pattern paper that has a very subtle pattern, and then the other 2 was just black cardstock. And I'm going to layer that so it has a little bit of dimension. This is like my go-to way of adding dimension to my titles or my card titles, because it's not too bulky, and also it's good for when, as you can see, the lettering of this word is very intricate, so it'll be really hard and very thin. It'd be really hard for me to add foam adhesive to this. So there is part of my title, and it's all done. And I put a block on there just to make sure that the letters are all adhered together. And so now when my flower is all dried, all the glitter on it has dried, I'm going to adhere that to the red cardstock that I had pre-cut into an A2 size. And then I'm ready to adhere all of my elements. Just trying to figure out the best way. I really didn't want to cover up the flower because I felt like that was the focal point, but I also wanted to make sure that I had enough room to add my sentiment, and I felt like the word, like I said, with the very thin lettering, could go on top of the flower, and you could still see the design of the flower. So I don't know, do you guys think that I should have maybe used a different word for my sentiment so that the flower will stand out without anything being on top of it? Let me know in the description below because I'm curious. And that is my first card. And here is, oh, I'm trying to see if I wanted to add a few more things. I am a kind of crafter that more is better sometimes anyways, but I ended up just leaving it like that. I thought that the simplicity of the card and all the designs being in the center kind of made a nice impact. Now we go on to our card number 2, and this one really I just wanted to play with the papers, and I have an idea to just use some strips, but instead of just having them line up perfectly horizontally, I'm going to angle it and kind of do it diagonal. So I picked up a bunch of papers from the 6x6 paper pad, and I'm just cutting them into 1/2 inches, and just going to layer them on top of another paper. So the grid paper was cut into 4, no, it would have, yeah, it would be 4 and 5 1/4. And then I'm just layering all of that strip of paper there. I really, really love the design of the pattern papers in this collection. I thought they were very modern and hip, and the boldness of the pink and the oranges were really screaming to me. I really loved it. So I just got to adhere a little bit more on the bottom, and then of course I'm going to trim out all of the excess so that you can see the design. This would be a perfect card to use up a bunch of scraps as well. And so my card, for some reason, or my video for some reason cut out, but all I did was adhere that onto a craft cardstock, and I die cut another word joy and then added some more butterflies and an enamel silver dot. Now we go on to the third card, and this one I wanted to use the stencil. So that's the first thing that I did. I cut this paper into 4 by 5 1/4, and oh no, actually I cut this one with a die cut using the stitch die cut, the same one that I used on the first card. And then I'm going to adhere it onto my stencil. Because my stencil is bigger, I am going to adhere the tape onto the back side of the paper. And then I wanted to do some kind of an ombre look to this. It didn't really look ombre at the end, but but I am trying some different techniques. So I did 3 different shades of pinks and oranges here, but they were just too close together. I need to be able to kind of use different, like the colors shouldn't be too close together. That's what I've learned. But it all turned out good. And I actually kind of enjoy learning how to blend these colors together. So that was fun. So now I'm going to set this aside and kind of let it dry, and then clean up my stencil. And then I'm going to work on my focal point here. So I had die cut this label from, again, from the Inspired by Stamping label die cut set, which is on just white cardstock. And then I wanted to layer a single flower on there. And because the flower has different layers, I thought it would be really fun to use the same colors that I used on the background for it. And that's my initial plan. You will see me change it up because you will see it later. So first I wanted to use the yellow, the fossilized amber, for the center, and I could have used my Real Memory Keeper's precision tool, I think that's what it's called. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure I'm wrong. But anyways, but I was feeling lazy, so I just used a stamping block. And then I used a pink one for the center, and it turned out awful. Like, I didn't like the way, the combination of the colors. It just, yeah, it looked crappy, and I was not happy. And I tried to fix it as much as I can. Like, I even added some glitter to it, hoping that the glitter would kind of subdue some of the difference. It's just, it looked crappy in my eyes. So oh, and I used some pin because the tip of that silver the glitter bottle, I should say, was clogging up, and so I just have this Meyerode big pin that I'm just using to unclog it every time. And I added some pen stitching on the back, on the edges. As you can see, I am still committed to using it, and I'm going to set it aside to dry, and then I'm going to work on my sentiment. And I just use an American Crafts pen for that, to add the pen lines. And then I have this banner that, again, I had cut out with the Inspired by Stamping die cut set, and then using some craft cardstock. And then I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment "You Amaze Me." That is from that same flower set. And sorry for the head. I'm going to use my white embossing powder that I have been using for all of the titles, or all of the stamping and embossing that I'm doing with this kit. And then I'm going to heat emboss it. And that's going to go under the label with the flower. So I decided that I am going to adhere the background and also the sentiment onto a gray cardstock base, just to kind of get it ready. And then I'm going to set it aside and set this aside so it'll dry. And then I decided to add some enamel dots to both ends of the title. So here it is, it's all dried. Yeah, not so happy about that. So now I am going with 3 different colors of pinks. So that's what I did here. So I had the very lightest pink, which is the solid color, is from that Studio G stamp. And then I went with a second or medium color pink, which is the distressed ink that you see there. And then the details was I used the darkest pink. And then so I didn't want to waste that label, and so I adhere that, and then I will just add the flower over the one that I didn't like with some foam adhesive. So you can see the difference of it on this side, but I thought that it actually added a little bit more of an accent to the flower. So those are my 3 cards, and I will see you tomorrow.